In this video, I'm finally going to share with you the number one thing that can help you to save a failing relationship. So if your relationship is at breaking point and you're worried that it's going to end in separation or divorce if you're married, then you definitely need to watch this video to the very end. If you don't know me by now, my name is Steve Boylan. I'm an author, I'm an expert relationship specialist, and I'm the CEO and founder of Clear Minds Talking Therapies. So in this video, like I say, I'm going to break down what that number one thing is so that you know exactly what you need to do to save your relationship from separation or divorce, so that you know exactly what you need to do to completely transform and change your relationship for the better forever, so that it is an happier, healthier and more fulfilling relationship for you both. So without further ado, let me share with you what that number one thing is. But to do this, I need to take you all the way back to 1993. So it's a summer's day way back in 1993. The sun is shining in the sky. The birds are singing in the trees. But there's this gentle breeze blowing through the trees as I'm walking through the park. But I've got this gut-wrenching feeling in the pit of my stomach because I've just found out that my mum has been rushed to hospital. So I'm racing through the park because I need to get back home to find out what's happened to my mum. The anxiety is spiraling around inside of me. And as I get closer to my house, the anxiety goes faster and faster inside of me. And I open the door and everybody is crying their eyes out. My sisters, my brothers, my dad, everybody are crying their eyes out. Because my mum has been rushed to hospital. So we need to get to hospital to find out what's happened to our mum. So we race down to the hospital. And when we get to the hospital, I've got this anxiety again, it's swirling around inside of me. And I've got that smelly, bleachy smell that you get in hospitals as well. As I'm walking through the hospital to go to the ward where my mum is. And we open the door to go in to see our mum, to find out what's happened. She'd had a massive stroke. So she didn't even look like my mum because she was paralysed all down one side. And unfortunately, she couldn't be saved and died at the young age of only 49. And I was aged only 14 at this point. My life then began to take a completely new direction. I unfortunately soon started to misuse alcohol. I then started to misuse drugs. And I got stuck in a negative trap of hell. Misusing drugs, misusing alcohol, and I soon started to struggle with depression and anxiety. My life was a complete and utter mess. I went to one-on-one counselling to try and deal with this, but it didn't work. But back then I didn't realise that there were lots of different types of therapies, some that are a lot more effective at dealing with the problems that I was struggling with. I also tried antidepressants, but they were absolutely useless. If anything, they made me feel even worse. And if you've ever tried antidepressants, you'll know exactly where I'm coming from. And I continued on in this negative trap for almost 11 years. My relationships were constantly failing. But at this point in 2005, I had two beautiful daughters, Jasmine and Tamsin, and I was going to do whatever it took to be a great dad, to be the best dad that I could be for my daughters. But I knew I couldn't be that great dad with struggling with drug addiction and alcohol addiction and the mental health problems that were taking over my life. And I got the unique opportunity to go to group cognitive behavioral therapy, and that was the best decision that I've ever made in my life. At that point, I was really skeptical because I'd tried counselling in the past, it didn't work, but I was willing to do anything at this point because I was desperate to be a great dad. And I went to group cognitive behavioral therapy, and it completely helped me to deal with my drug addiction, my alcohol addiction, and my depression and anxiety. I began to completely transform and change my life for the better forever. I decided that I wanted to be able to help young people to hopefully avoid making a lot of the similar mistakes like I've made in my life. So I decided to train as a youth worker so I could go on and help young people. Then I gained employment with St. Helens Council, where I worked for over 7 years helping young people. But then along the way, I decided that I wanted to help people on a more one-to-one basis. So I decided to go and study counselling at college. And while studying counselling, I learned all about different types of therapies, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, the therapy that had helped me to completely transform my life. So after qualifying as a counsellor in 2010, I decided that I was going to specialise in cognitive behavioral therapy, but I wanted to really specialise in helping couples, in helping people with their relationships. So I went to 2 universities to specialise in cognitive behavioural therapy because I knew if it could help me to deal with all the problems that I'd struggled with in my life, it was going to be an absolute godsend in helping other people who were struggling with problems in their life. So I went on to these universities, gained all of that knowledge in cognitive behavioural therapy, and I set up my own business back in 2010. And since then, I've absolutely helped thousands of individuals and couples to completely transform and save their relationships for the better forever and transform them into something that they didn't believe was even possible. And I've done this using my approach with a cognitive behavioral therapy underlining, pinning of my approach. And it's very, very effective. I've done this very successfully. And what I'd like to share with you is really what is cognitive behavioral therapy, because that is what I believe is the number one thing that can help you to completely save and transform your relationship for the better forever. That can help you to create a happy, loving, trusting, and fulfilling relationship and life. So cognitive behavioral therapy is based on the science that your thoughts, your behavior, your emotions, and your physiology are all connected. So if you're thinking negative stuff, then you're going to feel negative. You're going to behave in a negative way, and you're going to have negative physiological well-being. And you're going to be stuck in a cycle, going round and round, just like I was all the way back when I struggled. But again, you're going to be in a completely different cycle, because that was my cycle, but you will see a cycle that you're stuck in now. Maybe it's constant arguments. Maybe it's that you've got no love, no connection anymore. Maybe that's been lost. Maybe there's been a breaking of trust and infidelity and other types of breaking of trust. This is the thing that can help you to completely deal with them and even more problems that you can struggle with in a relationship. Because there are strategies, there are techniques that you can master, and I've used these techniques with thousands of different people and they've been able to master them, so you will be able to master them too. Techniques that can help you to change the way you think, techniques that can help you to change your behavior, and these techniques, by using them on a consistent basis, will help you to change how you feel emotionally and within your physiology as well, which ultimately will help you to create a happier, loving, trusting and fulfilling relationship where you both feel wanted, loved and special in your relationship. But what I'd love to do in the next video, I'd love to share with you what I call the negative relationship trap, and really how you can break out of the negative relationship trap by creating and maintaining what I call the relationship bond. So it's absolutely crucial that you watch that next video to the very end, because that is going to give you a super clear picture of exactly what you need to do to break the negative trap by demonstrating and building the relationship bond between you and your partner. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Thank you and goodbye.